But PCOS isn't just a fertility condition, it is very much a metabolic and hormonal one. And when we address it at the root, healing is absolutely possible.
Welcome to Health Decoded, your number one source for real health information, with your hosts, Dr. Alessi and Matt Tack.
Hey, Health Decoded listeners, Dr. Alessi here. Let me ask you a serious question. Are you tired of waiting until something goes wrong to finally see a doctor? At Alessi Functional Health, we take a different approach, the right approach. We believe true healthcare isn't about chasing symptoms. It's about preventing them in the first place. That's why we created the Alessi Total Care Program. This is a functional medicine-based membership that gives you proactive, personalized care year-round. You'll get access to comprehensive blood work and functional testing, custom doctor-grade nutraceuticals, deep discounts on labs, protocols, and follow-ups, as well as 24/7 direct access to your doctor, not just a 10-minute checkup that ends with another prescription. And here's the best part. As a Health Decoded listener, you'll get your first 3 months completely free when you sign up for an annual membership. That's on top of hundreds in savings already built into the program. This is your chance to take responsibility for your health and join a movement that's redefining what primary care should look like. Head on over to alessifunctionalhealth.com, click on our services tab, and go to Total Care. Learn more about this program and claim your exclusive podcast listener offer. Your health is your greatest asset. Let's protect it proactively. Welcome back to another episode of Health Decoded. I am your host, Dr. Alessi, and today we have a really fun and a really cool episode. I received a DM on Instagram from a listener of the show that had a very specific question regarding some of the things we've talked about on other episodes and how they work together. And that's awesome because that's the whole concept of functional medicine, is how our body systems all play in together and create the whole being of who we are as people, right? And so this is going to be a little bit shorter, a little bit quicker, and a little bit different than our standard episodes where we go through specific topics. This one's going to be focused on this question I received. But essentially, this person reached out to me on Instagram and said, "Hi, I'm curious in learning more about PCOS, which is Polycystic Ovary Syndrome or Ovarian Syndrome. And more specifically, she was interested in learning more about the insulin resistance component to that." And so basically I came up with kind of a little bit of a script here where I want to go through some things, discuss what PCOS is, obviously discuss what is the connection with insulin, answering her question, and then how do we test for this, what things we should look at, and then what we can do about it, right, and maintain health. And so I'm going to kind of start going through this. And, if this is something that you've dealt with or someone deals with, please share this with them. Let them kind of engage with this and see if this is something that rings for them, and then what they need to do to obviously, work on getting towards a state of balance and a state of health. So let's start with this. And thank you again for this question. I'm not going to name this person because just for the concept of anonymity here, but thank you again for sending this in. And we would like to do more of these. So if you do have questions, if you do have concerns or things that you'd like to hear answered on the show, please send them in. And so let's talk about PCOS, Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. So despite the name, you don't need ovarian cysts to have this. It's really a hormonal and metabolic condition. And most commonly, what it's going to present as are things like irregular or absent periods, excess androgens like testosterone in females, which can lead to acne, hair growth, or hair loss. It's going to lead to things like ovulation issues, which can make fertility more difficult. And yes, you can get the stubborn cysts on the ovaries, but they are a symptom, not the root cause. And so the underlying root for many women really is the insulin resistance component. Now, let's get into this insulin connection and ultimately what that means. So as we've discussed in a few episodes previously, more recently, actually, insulin is your blood sugar storage hormone. Think of it like the key that unlocks the cells to be able to take in fuel. But when you become resistant to insulin, which is very common, your body keeps pumping out more and more and more. Now, this happens because when we have elevated blood sugar for too long, or we're consuming meals too often, or we have a bit of metabolic dysfunction, insulin is going to be secreted more often and higher dosages. Over time, the body becomes resistant to this. So high insulin does a few dangerous things in women with PCOS. First thing, it's going to stimulate the ovaries to make more androgens like testosterone. It can disrupt ovulation, which can lead to irregular or even absent periods. It's going to promote fat storage, especially around the abdomen and the belly area. And it can fuel the metabolic storm that makes PCOS so tough to manage, and that a lot of conventional doctors are not going to know because they just focus on the medication side of things and focusing on the symptoms, not on, again, the entire person as a whole. They don't even think to look towards this insulin connection. This is why so many women with PCOS are told to just lose weight, which is very frustrating and very unhelpful, actually, because we have to treat the insulin resistance first if we want to reverse those symptoms. So the good news is that you can do this, and through food, movement, supplements, sleep, we've actually helped women to transform their PCOS outcomes naturally. Now, the way we approach this, right, we always want to talk about testing, because if you're not testing, you're guessing. And most doctors are not looking at the full picture. They're looking at a snapshot. So here's what I recommend you test if you suspect PCOS or if you want to track your progress with this condition. First things first, a full hormone panel. We have to see total and free testosterone, DHEA, which is an adrenal androgen. We want to see LH and FSH. This is luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. If you have a high LH to FSH ratio, that's very common with PCOS. We also want to check progesterone, and you want to check this mid-luteal phase, which is about day 21 of your cycle. We also want to make sure we look at estradiol and sex hormone binding globulin, which is often low in PCOS. Now, the next thing, right, we talked about how important it is, the insulin component. We want to check a metabolic panel, but not just glucose, right? Most docs are just going to look at your glucose and say, okay, it's all right. We want to check fasting insulin. This one is huge, often skipped, and probably the most important. Then we want to check fasting glucose, hemoglobin A1C, which is that 3-month blood sugar average, and a lipid panel. We want to look at cholesterol and triglycerides as well. And then we want to look at a thyroid panel. I want to see a full thyroid panel because these hormones play in tandem. So I want to see TSH, free T3 and free T4. We want to see that reverse T3. And then we want to see antibodies, TPO and TG antibodies, to rule out if there is Hashimoto's, which is often found in connection with PCOS. Some other helpful markers that we usually just have is ferritin, which is testing for the body's storage of iron, vitamin D, magnesium, and HSCRP, which is high sensitivity C-reactive protein, which is an inflammatory marker that is often elevated in PCOS. So if you're working with a good functional medicine provider, like this person was that sent me this message, these things should already be on their radar. If not, advocate for yourself because you need the full picture. And so this is where you become your doctor and you can guide the process and ask for things. So if you're listening to this, if you've been diagnosed with PCOS, if you suspect you may have it, here are a few key strategies that you need to talk to your doctor about or start implementing. Number 1, prioritizing blood sugar stability. Protein with every meal, 20 to 30 grams minimum. Cutting out entirely refined carbs and sugar, any processed food. And then consider some time-restricted eating or fasting if your body can tolerate it, if you're not in a high-stress environment. Movement is key. Walking daily, 10,000 steps a day. And then adding in strength training, because building muscle will improve your sensitivity to insulin. Muscle is the most metabolic, insulin sensitive organ that we have, and it can dramatically lower insulin resistance. The next thing is supporting your cycle. There's some really great hormones that can help with this. Magnesium is one. Myo-inositol, this is a fantastic one. It also helps with balancing the thyroid with Hashimoto's. N-acetylcysteine and omega-3s, these can all help. But if you don't know where to start or how much to take, be sure to work with a provider, functional medicine doctor, or someone who's qualified. And then again, making sure you're running those right labs. You want to check labs every 3 months when you're working with hormonal conditions because so much can change in a short period of time. That's the fasting insulin, the hormones, and then obviously the full metabolic picture. And so the takeaway here really is, PCOS isn't just a fertility condition. It is very much a metabolic and hormonal one. And when we address it at the root, healing is absolutely possible. So I want to thank you for sending in this question. Really glad I could come on here and do this for you. I hope this gave a little bit more clarity and encouragement to allow you to kind of take action. And, I want to let you know you're on the right path. I'm cheering for you. I think you're doing a lot of really good things. And now how do we just take this a step further? So if you're listening and you want to submit a question for a future episode, you can DM me on Instagram. It's at Dr. Alfred Alessi. You can go reply to our newsletter, or you can send an email to ask@alessifxhealth.com. I check every single message. If you found this valuable, please like, subscribe, share this with someone who needs to hear this message. That's the only way we really get this out. That's the only way we can help more people, change more lives. Go to alessifunctionalhealth.com to learn more about our programs, our functional medicine programs, and Alessi Total Care, where we have completely changed the way that primary care looks by taking a proactive approach, not just a reactive approach when symptoms appear. As always, remember this: your health is in your hands. I'm Dr. Alessi. I will see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to Health Decoded, where we break down the truth about all things health and empower you to take charge of your well-being. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. For more resources and personalized support, visit us at alessifunctionalhealth.com and sign up for our newsletter. To hear your questions answered live on the show, send them to ask@alessifxhealth.com. That's ask@alessifxhealth.com. Until next time, stay curious, stay empowered, and remember, your health is in your hands.